Such a call, Smith.
Thank you, Ms. Blucker, for addressing some of the things that we've talked about through this whole process, sometimes one-on-one and sometimes very publicly. Obviously, we can't be perfect when we have a department and or as many employees or as many problems as we have with children, but our goal should always be. And always putting those children first, if that's our job, should come first, even as we have talked privately and publicly with a judge, a single judge that seems to be causing problems. Talking about Judge James specifically, and to let this body know that I have copies of orders that are not only have that section put in them to make sure that the children are not with the family, but that some of them were even handwritten if they was left out of the order. That probably is one of the most concerning things. I won't say most, one of the concerning things, because the judge is kind of the last stop. All children, if they go to a judge and they get a bad judge, which I will not and I refuse, just like I do with us as legislators, to paint all judges with a brush saying they're bad. They're not. They're good. They do their jobs. But if we're the ones that hear something that's wrong or illegal, it's our job to report it. So when you say the buck stops with you on that one, I think it does. This judge apparently has only been in office, my understanding, Mr. Chair, for about 2 years. But unfortunately has done a lot of damage. So I'll look for the day that that judge comes to this committee and testifies on why that person can basically just skirt the law themselves. But I wanted to ask about, when I look at that specific circumstance, and that didn't just come in one day, this has been over a period of time. So when we look at time in your position, and we've seen and heard a tone, you've heard us talk about a tone and an attitude of the department. When the children are always put first, it looks to me like it would be very easy to go to AOC or someone saying you've got a problem with a judge. This is not about their ruling. This is not about other parts of the case of the law. And I guess I want to ask, did you talk to AOC about this circumstance specific? And then, because I only get 2 questions, how can you see going forward that the tone and the attitude changes, that it stops becoming, and with our new interim director and another director, that the tone isn't to let it go or protect the department, but it turns back to protecting the children?
So in answer to your question, yes, I've had a number of conversations with the Administrative Office of Court over the years. I think too that they feel that they have some restrictions as to how they can have a judge operate once they're on the bench. I know that I've had conversations with Renee Robinette in regards to some attorney ad litem practice, and I was told that they could bring it up, but they can't tell an attorney how to practice. So that's problematic. And and when you look at the filing of a judicial complaint, I look at what is the role of the Administrative Office of the courts. They're the ones that are to oversee the judges, that's why they're there. And sometimes I have been told that I can't address that with the judge, you need to call them. And so frankly, I was thinking back of all the judges that I have met with over the course of my 7 years as a child welfare director. Because I've had to address treatment of judges towards my staff to the point that I couldn't keep staff there. And this was Judge Hewitt, Mark Hewitt. We had a very pointed conversation because he just said, I want to know why I can't keep staff. And I told him, I said, you're the reason that you can't keep staff because of the way that you treat them. And I will not use the explicits here in a public meeting that I used with him in his room, in his chambers that day. But his behavior did improve, and his staff began to stabilize. And then it started back up again, and I said, I need to come back up there, and he's like, no, I've got that. And so I've had, various conversations with judges in regards to their practice, and we have judges who do not mind calling me from the bench in the middle of a case. And so I don't want there to be that impression that we're not dealing with those issues. But at the same time, I think, Senator, it comes back to that balance as well of ensuring that that courtroom is bearable for my staff to be in every day. And I have a responsibility to them as well, just as I do to the children of the state. And so we do start with, trying to have those meetings. And as I shared in my email with you, in my meeting with Judge James, I confronted her with that staff feud that they were verbally and emotionally abused in her courtroom. And I said, and we removed children for that. But that's how bad things have gotten in that courtroom. And I don't want it to be any worse in that courtroom. So that's a balance and a call that I had to make as a child welfare director of confronting the judge, very frankly confronting the judge. I took Greg Moore with me because I wanted to witness to the conversation, and I really wasn't quite sure how that conversation was going to go. So I took him with me, and we had a very pointed conversation with the judge. But I guess my question back is, should that conversation have been between me as a child welfare director and that judge? Or the administrative office of the courts and that judge? But being that things are not addressed, or the appearances that they're not, then we've taken on those challenges ourselves as a child welfare agency. So, in regards to your second question about the tone, Mischa's an attorney, so she's had the opportunity of being in those courtrooms every day. I haven't had that pleasure, thank God. And I've been in enough, but Mischa, I think that she can see how, and I think, I'm not going to speak for her, but I think she has seen some of the things that have been brought up here today. And I just think that the administrative office of the courts needs to function as such. And I think that there needs to be, because I will agree, there are some great judges. We sat down with some judges earlier this week to walk through a training curriculum. I mean, you got some really, really good judges in this state. I mean, you got some that, need improvement. And they can make life very hard for the staff who are in those courtrooms every day.
Can I follow up, Mr. Chair? As the follow-up with that, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you speaking candidly, but I do think that, Mr. Chair, with the AOC, I would like to know I don't know that it's their role to make complaints about judges. I think they do train, am I correct? Have you had that conversation, Ms. Blucker, with them?
It's my understanding that yes, they do train.
So someone has to file a complaint if there is one, and I don't think complaints should be made lightly. I think that everyone has to decide how a case goes. To have a complaint because you don't like the ruling is one thing, but to complain for a circumstance that you went to that judge and showed them, I think is a whole different issue. And so I think that as we educate people, this particular meeting will be very educational in that sense for all of us as well as the public. And obviously I hate that any children have been hurt along the way. But I don't know that AOC's job is to do the complaint. I think it's to do training. But I do wish that AOC was here so they could at some point answer that specific question for all of us to clarify that.
Yep.
And as far as tone goes, I will say that even as attorneys who've represented this department before, I believe that the job of the director, I wouldn't think it would be just to direct or just to protect the department. It would be clean it up where it does wrong. And so that's my statement to this part of the questioning. So that's what I hope we see in the future. Thank you all for that very much.
Thank you.